at importation, we are not able to clear out direct IM4s at the port for goods that are exempt, duty exempt. Yeah, they would have to either come first to the bond and then clear. And then occasionally, as Toyota Uganda, we might import in an item that is not regularly sold by us, but it is a business requirement. So by us having to first bring it to an ICD, that is another cost in both in terms of storage and in terms of transportation. Whereas we are ready to pay, to clear, occasionally what we do these days for items that are exempt, if it's exempt, then we would have to capture it with VAT, but some of them should have ideally nil entry, so that we have them delivered to our facility straight away. How about from the regional perspective, this can be allowed for AEOs to clear duty exempt goods, because in this day and age, you know where the taxpayers are. You can identify us, even if the goods went missing in a different country. I'm sure you would be able to track and trace the importer of those goods or exporter, whichever the case may be. So I think some of these are what we are looking out for as the next set of benefits that we'd like to see. And I'm sure my colleagues from the AEO Association have quite a lot more, because I've been very specific to the motor vehicle industry where I fall, but the general goods and the transporters themselves might have many more wish lists that they have. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Raymond. It was really a wish list, and I will ask, before I ask Martin to give us the future at the ESC, I will ask SC James, just from what Raymond has said in regard to RCTG, virtual bond, and others, for example, the manual registering the bond, what strategies are we putting in place as an organization to address some of that, and maybe to also assure Raymond that we have a list of 19. Some of them could be these. I am sure some are these 19 new benefits that we have suggested. We are in discussion with management for adoption. So I am sure from my perspective, from a smaller perspective of URA, which I manage, the 19 benefits are also going to come in handy for the operators. But James, please elaborate on the highlights on RCTG, on virtual bond, and motor vehicle registration changes. Thank you.
Thank you, Raymond and Peninah. First of all, I'm encouraged, and this is what I've been looking out for, that we need to be having the feelers to collect some of these benefits which our clients look at and would want to have, or would feel like having. And as you have said, because you have been very thorough and very specific within the motor vehicle industry or sector, and I think what we are going to do from here, we want to widen this conversation to even other people who are falling outside, and have some kind of a discussion or one-on-one or their groups, just like we have had with you, so that we pick all these items and then we take them at a level and discuss. Because as you have been saying, or you have been listing some of these ones, I've seen some of these ones really can be easily achieved or implemented, as we look for some of those ones which may look to be either difficult or may need some time for us to engage other stakeholders, because some of them you may find that actually they cut across the borders. But I think I would encourage, actually, Peninah, I think from here we need to arrange, I don't know whether it will be just a webinar like this one, but just to discuss the benefits members would want to be added on this. Then we look through this and we see which ones can be worked out and which one cannot. Now, I think I'll begin with the virtual bond. I'm very, very aware that I think this one, somehow it is being tested. Some people have been actually allowed to test this. So I know it can really work out. Around the 2 of them have been, and I will find out the number, but at least something is being worked out on that. Then the issue of SCT, where you are not allowed to import something which is exempt and clear from Mombasa or originate from Mombasa. I think that one also is something which we need to look at. Since you are AEO and at a regional level, I think we can engage our colleagues and we see. And I think this one we are going to take it up with our colleague who is in the external operation and to see how that one can be really done. About the automation of the registers and all that, currently we are working out an automation in the bonds. And I think this one also can come in, but we first give priority to AEOs. So I think also this one we are going to discuss with our IT people and we see what can be done about it. And lastly, it is the other registration at the bond of AEOs, motor vehicle registration. I think as Peninah, we can take it up with the people and then we see how we can come up with this, including the motor vehicle registration, the customs, and how we can do it. And then also you talked about verifying, the AEO verifying from your bond instead of moving to Nakawa. I just want to find out if Mombasa verifies these vehicles. If really Mombasa verifies these vehicles, then I think we can also pick up from there and just based on what Mombasa has done, and we take it instead of again bringing them here. But what I can say from here, we are going to look through all these issues as you have said them, and then we find out those ones which can work very fast and those ones which may take some time, including that regional bond which you have talked about. But as I've told you, it involves more than one nation, so we need to engage them. But I know once we have reached that regional status, it is possible. Thank you.
Thank you very much, James. I will ask Martin to give us an insight considering the emerging issues globally at the continent, the region, and nationally, especially the issues of African continental free trade area. What does it mean for the AEO program, for the future of the AEO program?
Okay, thank you very much, Peninah. As we know, the AEO program is about trade facilitation. There have been a lot of things happening in the area of trade. A lot of regional groupings are coming on board. That is worldwide, actually. If you look on the Asian continent, they are also having theirs. The Europeans and Americans, everybody is trying to look for some kind of a regional bloc to belong to. AEO being a trade facilitation program actually fits into this thing very well. And maybe just for purposes of information, AEO program is also part of the trade facilitation agreement under the WTO, the TFA. Now the TFA under Article 7 requires countries that are signatories, and now the TFA, the Trade Facilitation Agreement, has already come on board. It is actually in force already, and Uganda and all the countries in the EAC are signatories. Now, it has come into force, and under Article 7.7, you as a country who is member of the WTO, you're supposed to implement an authorized operator program scheme. It does not necessarily talk of authorized economic operator, but authorized operator scheme. But if you look at the content, it is slightly less than that of authorized economic operator. So if our country implements the AEO program, we are meeting our mandate under the TFA as well. Now, this the regional blocks or the regional groupings are actually very good, because as the AEO program grows, that means the whole supply chain. If the African Free Trade Continental Free Trade Area comes on board, you can see that the supply chain is made much longer, and if we can get the supply chain facilitated throughout the whole of the African continent, that means, therefore, we may derive maximum benefit from the AEO program. However, we need to look at this AEO program, national, regional, because regional also we have different regions. We have now EAC, there is COMESA, there is also a tripartite arrangement. So this AEO program, particularly one of EAC, we take the national AEO program as a building block for the regional. Now, this regional grouping should then, in the future, form the building block for such like the continental one. And because of that, I see that the coming into force of things like the African Free Trade Continental, African Continental Free Trade Area is going to help us with the, it's actually going to fit in very well with the AEO, and the issue is what we are looking at EAC. Maybe if I'm to summarize, we are looking at it in terms of maybe short term, medium term, and long term. We are looking at taking the AEO to African Free Trade Continental Free Trade Area as one of the things. But before we reach there, we need to complete our program first in the short term. Then the short term, we are expecting to concentrate on perfecting the administration of the program, because as you heard from the operator, there are certain things which are still missing. And this is going to involve automation. We have to automate the processes. We are going to improve the benefits, as you heard him talking about. Everything he has been talking about is enhancing benefits. We need to train more experts. We need to bring the AEOs, get them involved in the management of the AEO program itself through an AEO association, which is being set up. We need to bring other cross-border regulatory agencies in line with what James talked about, bring them on board at ESC level. And talks have been about small and medium enterprises. We need to remodel our program so that in case it is too difficult for these SMEs and women enterprises to access it, we make it more accessible to them. In the medium term, we are looking at what I would say strategic partnerships through things like MRA. James has already talked about it. We also want to expand the scope of the AEO program to make it more useful. For example, in the area of fighting wildlife trafficking, we are trying to discuss with the traffic and see how the AEO program can help in such areas. So we want to broaden the scope of the AEO program. Of course, in the long term, as I said, we look at going like continental, so that there is facilitation across. If we could have a result of about 60% of all the transactions covered under AEO program, we would therefore say, yes, there's benefit for us. Briefly, maybe that's what I can say about the future.
Thank you very much, Martin. Someone in Tanzania was making a speech and he said he could see that the bright was very future. I'm thinking that the future is really bright with all these aspects that you've brought alive today. Maybe for James, we know that Uganda, you said it, Uganda hosted the global conference in 2018 and it was a success. We had over 1,000 dignitaries, participants from over 69 countries. And we are told that it is still a talk in the corridors of WCO. Can you give us insights? Because we've also heard that the 5th global conference is being prepared. Maybe take us through the preparations so far, and you could also highlight the theme of the global conference. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, moderator Peninah. It is true that Uganda organized the 4th AEO Global Conference, and it was really a success. This year, we are going to have the 5th Global AEO Conference organized, which is going to be organized, hosted by Dubai, and it's going to be there between 25th to 27th of May, and the theme is advancing towards new horizons for a sustainable and secure trade. That is the theme. So at this time, I just want to call upon all members, to begin with the AEO operators, to save that date or those dates to attend, because this one, because of the COVID-19 pandemic which we are having, it will be online. It will not, we shall not move there, all of us, maybe a few, but mostly it's going to be online. And when the window opens for registration, I want to encourage you, all of you, to register, because the benefits are many. You are going to interact with so many other AEOs or people who think like you, and also there are always business opportunities as far as these conferences are concerned. So please look out. We shall be informing you when the window opens to register and all the other requirements when that time comes. We want to encourage those ones who have heard about it also to encourage others so that we can attend in big numbers. And just as the moderator said, there is a lot of expectation from us who organized the previous one, and also to give support to those people, and we need to be there. So thank you very much.
Thank you, James. Before we wind up, maybe before I ask you for your parting shot, there are questions coming in, and one of them is related to what Raymond suggested. If we can let AEO importers who have duty-free consignments with approved tax exemptions and also items that are exempted by tariff, e.g. helmets, to be captured on a direct IM4 under ACT so that these are released. So I think James had highlighted, or we can take that into consideration. There was also a question on bond. One of the operators feels that his bond was sufficient before he became an AEO, that is a CB6, and right now he sees a sharp rise in the bond in force per consignment. This is when he became an AEO. Between the time he became an AEO and now, we need also to give him answers, and I will ask James to to answer the two briefly, the other question was on the help tool, and I think it goes to the customs officials out there. That there is a big challenge in the response to help tool issues, delay of entries, and this is affecting the way they do business. So this we could handle at operational level. So James, if you can answer that.
Okay, thank you, Peninah. Just like as I said, the issue to do with clearance of exempted goods at Mombasa is an issue mostly with our partners, the partner state, that is the Kenya, and their fear as always to be if they are really exempt, what if, and this one comes in, they are exempt in Uganda, but in Kenya they are not exempt. But as I said, it's something we are going to take through and look through, engage them and say, for instance, if we have these AEO people whom we can recognize across the borders, why can't we allow this? And I want to assure you that I'm going to take up this one and we discuss in the necessary, in the fora where really we need to discuss and come up with something. Then the other one which came from one of our clients who said, before January, when actually became the AEO, bond in force has increased. Now, I don't think that the bond in force has increased because it became an AEO, but what could be happening, because first of all, we need to know that bond in force comes out of the value of the goods. It is only when the value of goods have changed, maybe depending on the circumstance, that then the bond in force increases. So we need to look at that. But the other thing also, because I see it talks about also CB6 and all that, which CB6 is a bond for warehousing. You see, in January, we launched, around January, December, we launched what we call auto conversion of WT8, goods which are coming. Now that means that as soon as the entry reaches the bond and you validate, it auto converts to an IM7, and then it takes part of the what? Part of the guarantee which is in place. Without even you, because before that you would decide to say, okay, let me capture now an IM7 on this one, and immediately it picks the money. Or you can decide to say, no, I'm not going to lodge an IM7, let me lodge an IM4 first, and that one will not take the bond in force. But right now, whatever comes on WT8, it has to be auto-converted the moment you click validation. So I think that's where it is coming from, but not because it became AEO, so that's where it comes from, which we need to look at. But as we have said, these are things which we can continue looking at if it is becoming a problem, and then maybe now it is the other thing of the virtual bond where it comes in. The guarantee, it is a virtual, you don't actually pay the money, but as a benefit of AEO, we can really look at that. And those are the things we are going to look at in details.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, James. Of course, the AEO has brought benefits, including the virtual bond. We've given 2 to 3 on case by case when they approach management and have a discussion. So it shouldn't be the other way that when you join, the bond is high, because the purpose of the program is to reduce the cost of doing business. Thank you so much, Peninah, and I would like to maybe just get a parting shot from each of you. I will start with Raymond.
Thank you very much, Peninah. As Toyota Uganda, we are very grateful for giving us this opportunity to share our experience of our AEO journey for the last 10 or so years. We believe that we should be getting even additional benefits like we've discussed, because it's still a journey. And as we say in Toyota Uganda, we continuously improve. We call it Kaizen. So we believe we still have so many opportunities to Kaizen, and both as the members of the AEO program and as customs, so that businesses are facilitated. For us, like I mentioned earlier, our aim is to have shorter lead times. With shorter lead times, it saves us money and it creates opportunities to grow revenue. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Raymond. Martin?
Well, Peninah, you know, AEO is about trade facilitation. And trade facilitation, we know that it's what leads to sustainable trade. And if you may allow me, the time may not be there, but to give an analogy, here in Uganda we are experts in something called senene. Grasshoppers, when they come, they fly all over. Whatever you catch is what belongs to you. But when it is still flying, it belongs to everybody. Now, it's the same principle with the money. When money is flying everywhere in the industry of trade, whatever we catch is what belongs to us, we call our wealth. Now, people have devised ways by which they put very bright light to trap this senene and to trap more. Now, the bright light they put there, let's look at it in this respect as the trade facilitation, because the more we facilitate trade, the more we attract money into our pockets. So, as a region or as a country, I think we should embrace the AEO more so that we can trap more wealth. And it has been proven that countries that trade more develop more. If you take, for example, the statistics of China by 1995, it was only trading 3% in the world trade, with about $250 billion. But right now, by 2018, China was trading at 12.6%, at $4.6 trillion. And China actually is either the second or the first. They have grown within a period of less than 40 years. So trade, if we facilitate trade, we attract more trade, and our region will develop. And as James said, the more the businessmen make money, the more we also get revenue. So I think AEO program should be embraced by customs, other government agencies, as well as the traders. It has a benefit for us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Martin. James?
Yes, thank you, Peninah, and all the members who have made this interaction possible. I want also to thank Raymond, who has got some time for us and come here and discuss with us. This is very, very important, because this is the way to go. It is through this interaction that we can make our program better and achieve the purpose, the objective, why it is there. And I'm happy to hear that also there are plans to make sure that we come up with an association for the AEO, and it is through that we can get more views and make our baby really grow to the size and the height we want. As Martin has just said, there is no way other than encouraging and facilitating trade. However much we want to collect, but if we are not facilitating trade for people to trade, but at the same time also preach the compliance gospel to them, which is one of the objective of AEO, then we have got it wrong. But this is the beginning, and we look forward to having a number of these discussions. We take serious whatever we get from you, our partners, and promise that really this one we are going to really work on it, continue to make sure that we solve our problems and increase trade. Thank you very much, and I want to thank you for that.
Thank you, James. Thank you, panelists. Thank you, the team that is helping in the studio. We've come to the end of the webinar. We give you our word from Customs that the future is really bright with the strategic partnerships that Martin talked about, with the association of the AEOs coming together to advocate for new benefits, with the growth of numbers, as James said, with us enhancing tangible benefits, with the private sector coming on board to support in partnerships. We are sure that the future is a bright one, and it resonates well with the theme of the global conference that is scheduled for May, advancing towards new horizons for sustainable and secure trade. So let's stay in touch. Thank you, our listeners. Please send us emails, phone calls, and together we will take the program to another level. Thank you very much.
Bye.